Now that we are in the US, when we go out to eat, we will have something that we are not used to. That is, you have to tip the waiter when you check out. I was really not used to it at first. I come to your restaurant to eat. Isn't it natural for you to serve us? It should be paid by the restaurant. The restaurant is so mean.
Right.
But this is that in Louisiana's law, the restaurant's waiters are paid very low hourly wages, which is salary. Their main income comes from tips. It's legally guaranteed. It's not considered as underpaying labor. So the restaurant will do this to ensure, if we haven't been to the US before, we may be a little uncomfortable at first. Chinese restaurant owners also encountered this problem. That is to say, when others open a restaurant, they don't have to consider the cost of waiters. But Chinese restaurants, they will face this cost pressure. Or Chinese people come to eat and Chinese don't tip. Or when Westerners come to eat, sometimes they think the service of Chinese not standard, not like the service standards of Western food. It's not about your kindness, enthusiastic or not. It's because he thinks you have to reach a standard. He thinks your actions, words, or your words, right? If you don't meet this standard, he can refuse to tip because tipping is voluntary. This caused that Chinese restaurants had to spend more money. The price was not high, and there was an extra cost. So in the 1900s, they used a kind of Japanese pancake. It was transformed into a cookie. And how to do it, let me explain. That is, if you want a tip, I would give you a small cookie. The cookie looks like a dumpling. Bend it like a dumpling. There will be a small gap. There is a small note in the crevice. On the note, there may be different levels of coupons. When you come to eat next time, you can use this note. You can get a discount. This is a way to stimulate customers. Tipping the waiter is good. If you don't tip the waiter, the restaurant has to, and you don't want to give, then you can get another coupon for the restaurant. I win a chance for you to come again by abstaining.
Oh my God.
It's like selling a tip. I really think this action is quite ingenious. When China was running restaurants, it must have gone beyond that. Just making the dishes delicious, arguing with others about awful, what they were like or not. It has gone beyond that level. It has already reached the level of restaurant management. So when he considered this problem, I think the solution was quite creative. The only dramatic thing is that he didn't use ordinary cookies. He used Japanese real combat pancakes. The Shijian pancake is originally just like making dumplings during Chinese New Year with a coin inside, and whoever ate the coin would be lucky. It's a bit like that. But in this case, maybe every pancake. Some lucky words are inserted. It should be a blessing. Oh, at that time, Chinese food at that time borrowed this feature of inserting small notes. We insert coupons inside to see how much discount you can get. But if you want to get this cookie, you must tip the waiter. So this cookie is called a lucky cookie. Why am I telling this example? Until now, in the minds of Americans, the fortune cookie still exists in their minds. He thinks this is a feature of Chinese food. A Japanese tried very hard to figure it out. Finally, he figured out. Fortune cookie is the earliest real-life pancake. It was made by the Japanese, but now in general, in the minds of ordinary Americans, such small cookies is now a quintessential Chinese thing. But you see, it took an important step, which is a breakthrough in business. I said in 1900s, didn't they enter the model innovation? In 1911, Chinese restaurant operators, they furthered their thinking and promoted the dual menu system, one for Chinese and another for Westerners, and provided another menu for Westerners. At this time, there was a dish called sweet and spicy chicken entered the historical stage. This is the prototype of the famous Zuo Zongtang chicken on the Western menu. On the Western menu, such as sweet and spicy chicken, in today's terms, it is a standard, an improved dish that suits their taste. They began to explore how to use Chinese cooking techniques to adapt to their tastes. On the contrary, Chinese people can keep some things that they think they can't understand, such as stir-fried chicken offal, such as pig blood soup, mok suang, right? These can be preserved in a down-to-earth way, and for the others, can explore how to adapt to it, which is also a remarkable breakthrough. The 1920s was another important year. Waiters wore cheongsam and jazz performances. The first one was Wame Tea House. Oh, why is this important? The unit price is high. The profit went up immediately. Before 1920s, it was struggling with low prices and profits. This industry has been stuck in low prices and low profits. This is not dynamic. So the 1920s was another watershed. There were restaurants like Wame Tea House began to enter the mainstream society. But to enter the mainstream, they had to play the cultural card. Right in 1920s, made the per capita price to a higher level. Back in the 1930s, there was a famous advertising slogan which claimed you could cook Chinese food in 3. What is this thing? It's a canned offal cold. Note that this offal is not the same as it was in the 1800s. It mainly refers to the mixture. It contains some, I believe, an element that Westerners are not familiar with. It's called bean sprouts. Other vegetables are mixed together and a little meat and stir fry it with something simple. This is the taste of Chinese food. Oh, this canned food is popular. This at least shows 2 things. First, pre-cooked. It entered the American market in the 1930s. Because they accept canned food and the concept of pre-cooked food much easier than us. Since the British Industrial Revolution have been eating canned food for 100 years. Another point is it shows that they still like Chinese flavor. The sales volume is quite high, millions of cans or something. It's very popular. You can't think all the buyers are Chinese, you know. You know that. Their advertising slogan is generous. We can see this advertisement today. Let you restore Chinese flavor in 3 minutes. It means many people like Chinese flavor. This is the 1930s. From the 1920s, real restaurants entered mainstream society. By the 1930s, canned food sold well. It can be said that Chinese had officially entered the mainstream society of the U.S. By 1940, World War II, Chinese Americans joined the army. This thing greatly improved the social image of Chinese in the U.S. If you fought in China, you fought against Japan. Joining the U.S. Army was also fighting against Japan. So from any perspective, it was a great help to the image of Chinese in America. It was a great help. Why do we talk about this? Speaking of this egg drop soup, became the standard equipment of the U.S. Army. Now it sounds like that is to enter the U.S. Army. It's not that simple. Let me give you 2 other examples. You will know how much help it is to enter the U.S. Army. The expansion of the influence of this thing after the war, how helpful it was, we at least know that. There are 2 things. Entered the U.S. military as standard equipment in World War II. And after the war, it gained an unimaginable status. The first is Gillette razor, but the Gillette razor was in World War I. Gillette razor, which became the standard equipment of the U.S. Army. After war, people began to get used to using safety razors. There is another one. I won't say you don't know. Once I say it, you will all know. It's Camel cigarettes. It was because it was the standard for the U.S. Army. After World War II, it became the world's most famous brand. So today I want to talk about egg drop soup became the U.S. standard. This is a very important thing. That is to say, after the war, almost the American society had fully accepted egg drop soup in the 1940s. At this time, and then came the unforgettable 1950s. A chef in Taiwan made this sweet and spicy chicken. When people asked him what it was called, he called it Zuo Zongtang chicken. Because the chef was from Hunan, the sweet and spicy taste has nothing to do with Hunan. But we all know that Hunan people have a strong sense of pride in their hometown. So the chef, when asked what the dish was called, he named it Zuo Zongtang chicken. This product is amazing. This product, it can be said to create the prototype of Chinese food's Americanized taste. It's destined. It is said that in the next 10 or 20 years, Zuo Zongtang chicken, in the total sales of the entire Chinese cuisine, can account for nearly 40% in their minds. Chinese food. They deeply realized Chinese food has a sweet and spicy taste. In fact, what Zuo Zongtang chicken is strong in later is its sweet and spicy sauce. Recently, on TikTok, there is a so-called Chinese cuisine deconstruction. They use the sauce in other ways, with Mexican food or other dishes, and create various ways to eat. Who dares to sell this in Chinese restaurants in China? You're fooling us. You're lying, right? So it's really one culture influencing another culture, entering another culture bit by bit. So this is Chinese food, has experienced since the 1950s. In the past 100 years, it's really flourishing. It has stores and profits, and it has best-selling products.
看看里面装了什么？有！哇哦，幸运铅笔！这种饼干里面都放了一张命运签条，让你可以预测未来命运。小瓜，他们早知道我们饿了，比我们早知道哎！快吃吧！你马上就要鸿运当头了。